Hey guys, it's your host Hollow, and I am back with another video. Guys, in this video we're going to be starting a new series. Yes guys, so I've decided to go to the darker sides of the world and start recording very scary subreddits about scary things people have dealt with in real life and shit. Anyway, let's begin. If you guys do enjoy these, please let me know down in the comments down below. When I was about 13 or 14, I lived on a farm in New York City. This wasn't a regular farm, but that you would expect with fields full of beans and shit. I was actually a pine tree harvester. Pine needles are a big landscaping commodity, and so we lived basically in the woods and would bale the pine straw every year. Whatever the point is, that my house was in the middle of the 550 acres of perfectly lined longleaf pines. My living room had a huge picture window. I won't go into the architecture of the house, but it was a weird custom job built by some dentist in the 30s. The window in the living room stretched nearly the entire length of the room, maybe 50 feet. The house was built on a subtle hill, so the living room itself sat 5 or 6 feet off the ground, so you had something of an angle to look out of a solid mile of pine trees. During the winter, it was unsettling because you just get a bit of snow, enough to reflect moonlight so that you could see the dogs running around at night. I'll be honest, I hated that room and that fucking window. So now to the relevant part. I had a cousin over for the weekend, and we were doing what kids do in the county, throwing stuff in the fireplace to see what happens. You know, shit like that. It is getting late, and the fire is dying down, so we built the big kingdom of couch cushions and blankets in the living room, and got ready for bed. Nothing out of the ordinary, until we hear the dogs barking. They were really far away. The property stretches for nearly a mile, so I just assumed they were chasing off whatever animal felt like shitting in my yard. So my cousin is starting out the window and not saying anything, which prompts the standard "what's up?" He just kind of keeps staring and says he feels like he's seeing things. Naturally, I get all anxious and start staring out the window as well. Nothing happens for a few minutes, and he gets more and more annoyed with me because I'm asking what he saw. He keeps shushing me so that he can focus, and then we both see it. A shadow of a person moves from one tree to the next. Not a run, not a leap, just a brisk walk from one tree to another. This is probably 100 yards out from the house. We can't actually tell if the person is coming closer or not because we're dealing with moonlight reflecting off of snow, slush, ice. I guess the crazy part is that we didn't so much freak out because at this point there is still that chance that we didn't see what we saw, you know? So we just kept staring. We should have gone to wake up my dad, but he's an idiot and the kind of guy to walk out on the patio and hover into the woods with his rifle. We were just scared enough to agree that we don't want to taunt whatever is happening. So about 3 minutes later it happens again, but a good 50 feet from where we first saw it. Another person, another tree, a few strides, and they were gone. This happened every few minutes for the next half hour, and we just stared. At this point, I should mention that I didn't really have neighbors. The land surrounding our farm was federal paper. I don't know who owns it now, so it has miles and miles of uncultivated trees. You don't see people around the farm unless they intend to be there. So we keep watching as these two figures intermittently appear and vanish until finally we see one appear, but not disappear. Instead, we focus in and see that it is now running forward. We lose our shit and go wake up my dad. By the time we get into the room with my half-awake father, there is no one to be seen. We sprint around locking doors and windows. Keep in mind that we're out in the county with no one around. It rarely occurs to lock doors. Every door was worse than last because you just know that as soon as you reach the door, someone is going to be trying to open it, although that never happened. We locked everything up, walked around the house at least 50 times, making sure no one got in without us knowing, and then convinced my dad to fall asleep in the living room with us while we stared out of the window. I never understood why my dad wouldn't call the police. He always had this "we take care of our own" mentality, and it simply wasn't an option to call 911. The next day, we went out to look, and absolutely there were footprints everywhere in the snow. We saw them between trees, and then we finally saw where someone had been standing right in front of the window. But as I said, I wouldn't have seen them because while I'm 7 feet up in the living room, they would have been right beneath me. Alrighty guys, hopefully you enjoyed that first episode. If you guys did, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys want to see more fucking shit like this, or I should say listen.